So, Ann, we're going to start on the leg press. The leg press is probably one of the most important exercises we can be doing in any workout. The reason for that is that it works the largest muscles of the body. Specifically, it's working your glutes, your buttocks, your quadriceps, front of your thighs, and your hamstrings. Collectively, these muscles make up the largest muscle group in the body. Very important to work the lower body. It's responsible for all our functional ability, walking around, endurance, sports, and it also, working these muscle groups, also is responsible for the largest indirect effect. What is indirect effect? Indirect effect is a unique phenomenon that occurs when you work such large muscle groups that it has an effect on the rest of the body. So if you, for example, couldn't use your upper body for an injury temporarily, and you don't necessarily have to stop working out, you should still be doing your lower body, especially using a machine like this that works all these muscles at one time. What happens is when you work this large muscle group is it actually has an effect on the rest of your body, even though you might not be working it out. That's the indirect effect. It can actually strengthen your upper body because of how powerful this stimulus working the lower body is. So that's good news for somebody that has an injury that they're nursing and they can't really work out their upper body. It's a way to preventing some of that atrophy that might occur from not working out their upper body. So it's a very cool thing to have in our arsenal. Now, what I want you to do is we're going to try this, and we're not really going to do it to muscle failure like we talked about. We're just going to practice, and I just want you to get a feel for the machine and learn how to do this technique, the slowness, the breathing, and we're going to get into that. So why don't you have a seat on the edge here and then push your feet up on this platform. Okay, so you're at the start right here. From the starting position, you're going to be very slowly lifting the weight. We call that the positive. Anytime you lift the weight, you're calling it's the positive, and then you're going to lower the weight. Every time you lower the weight, it's going to be called the negative, regardless of the machine that you're on. The pace is about 1 inch every second, and it's a consistent pace. So you're not going to start out faster and then go down to 1 inch per second. It starts at 1 inch per second and continues moving 1 inch per second for both the positive and the negative. What's also important about the repetition are the turnarounds. We call this the upper turnaround and we call this a lower turnaround. When you start lifting the weight and you get to the upper turnaround, what you're doing here is not locking out your knees because you'll be resting and you'll be potentially hurting your knees by having your legs completely straight. So you don't want to do that. You want to keep the tension on the muscle. So you're going to stop short of locking out your knees and then very slowly come back down into your negative. When you get to the bottom turnarounds, again, you don't want to rest down here either. So you're not completely letting the weight down, taking a break, and then starting again. You're still keeping the tension on the muscle, barely touching the weights down, and then starting right back up again at a very slow 1 inch per second rate. And you're going to be doing that continuously until you hit the wall being muscle failure, right? And then you're going to push 10 seconds beyond that, and that's the complete set. Today we're not necessarily going to go that far, but that's the goal. Today you're just going to learn how to do this slowly. What we also do is learn how to breathe properly. While you're doing this, I want you to also breathe freely. Now I know that sounds kind of simple to breathe freely, but what happens is once the muscle starts getting really tired and you start to struggle to move the weight, that's when we tend to hold our breath. We always tend to push against something, and even that's partially holding my breath. What I want you to do is even no matter how hard this gets, you need to continue to breathe. The more demanding the exercise gets, as you go through your progressive repetitions, you're just going to breathe heavier. The harder it gets, just breathe like a freight train and you have to, but still stay calm while you're breathing. If you were to hold your breath, several things can happen. One, you're going to reduce your performance, and of course we want to maximize performance. Secondly, you can raise your blood pressure, and that's never a good thing, although it's probably not dangerous. Thirdly, you can cause and trigger what we call an EIH, an exercise-induced headache. Exercise-induced headaches are not dangerous, but they are nasty, and they usually happen with beginners that haven't learned how to breathe properly yet. An exercise-induced headache usually starts at the back of the neck, comes around the front, right behind your eyes like a lightning bolt. So I don't want to scare you, but the reason I'm telling you this is because, one, it's not dangerous, and it will go away. And so this way, if it does happen, you don't freak out thinking you're having a stroke. But besides that, I'm telling you this because if you feel a headache coming on, Don't try to be a hero. Don't try to work through it. Just stop. I'm not going to judge you. If you stop, I say, what's the matter? You say, I felt a headache coming on. That's a smart thing to do. Don't try to work through a headache, because if it does get worse, it might take several days for it to go away. All right, so again, I'm telling you that not to scare you, but just so in the rare case that it does happen, you don't freak out. Okay, now, and we're ready to start. So what I want you to do is build up pressure in your heels when I tell you, and you're going to barely start moving that out, and then get to a 1 inch per second pace, which I'll kind of pace you. You don't have to figure it out yourself. And then you're going to continue with that pace until we hit the wall, or close to it. All right? When you're ready, build up pressure in your heels and barely move the weight out. A little fast, slow. There you go. That's a good pace, just like that. Right to there. So I don't want you locking out in your knees, like we talked about. And that's a good spot, and then come down slowly. So now we're going to do a couple reps, much smoother without stopping and starting. You're going to get to the bottom. I'm going to warn you. You have about 1 inch, 1/4 inch. Right there. Ease it back out. Not bad. You kind of hit down a little hard. That's a nice pace. Right to about there, and ease it back down. We're going to do another couple of turnarounds. That's a perfect pace. All right. You have 2 inches left. 1 inch. Careful. Here we go. Turn around right there and ease it out. That was a good turnaround. That's how you perform it. You feeling it?
I am.
Very good. Right to there, and then come back down. We're going to do one more. That's a perfect pace. This is how you perform all the exercises, not just this one. 1/2 inch right there. Last one. Ease it out. Smooth. Relax your shoulders. Good breathing, right? No holding your breath. Right to about there, and ease it back down.